So we're going to skip over here, they're back and forth again, and really just showcases that they're having a little bit of fun. And Benvolio, after all this, he kind of says, "Stop! Like we're getting carried away here. We're not really asking him what happened. I'm curious as to what's going on." And then finally, the nurse and Peter enter, and Peter is just another servant here. So they enter into the fray. And remember, Juliet is sending a messenger here. Romeo, Benvolio, they're not going to be super nice to the nurse here. So Romeo's like, "Oh, here comes something good," and Benvolio's like, a sail, 2-2, a shirt and a smock." So basically Benvolio says a sail is a sail because her clothes are so big they look like a sail on a ship. Benvolio's calling her fat. Not very nice. The nurse asks for a fan because it's hot out, so she's waving, she's trying to cool herself down, and Mercutio's like, "Ah, good Peter, hide her face," aka she's ugly. So right away, Mercutio and Benvolio, not nice to the nurse. Then the nurse says, "Good morning, gentlemen." Mercutio's trying to mess with her, and he says, "Good afternoon." And then nurse is like, "Wait, it's the afternoon now? Like, it got so late?" And Mercutio, I won't go too much into this, has a dirty joke for the nurse. And the nurse is like, "What?" She's like, don't tell me that. Don't give me a dirty joke. Like, what kind of man are you?" Mercutio's like, "Ooh, I am a man that God has made. And I am made to just ruin things and make fun of people and be a rude guy." And the nurse is like, "Well, you got that right. You're speaking the truth there. I believe that you're a little bit of a naughty, saucy boy." Then she says, "Where is the young Romeo?" And Romeo now has his opportunity to make fun of the nurse, or take a little bit of a joke at the nurse's expense. And he's like, "I can tell you where young Romeo is, but he will be older than when you find him than what you are looking for." So basically saying the Romeo that you went looking for a couple hours ago, he's a little bit older right now. So he won't be young Romeo, but I can find you older Romeo. And so again, just really messing with the nurse. However, the nurse, she's not super witty, so she's just kind of like, "Oh, you speak well," not necessarily understanding that Romeo is making fun of her. And then the nurse says, "You know what? I need to talk to you, Romeo. Can we talk with each other?" Benvolio's like, she will invite him to some supper. She's trying to get some food out of him, trying to get a supper to him. And then Mercutio's like, a bod, so ho. Basically saying, maybe this was the woman that Romeo spent the night with, right? Because they're wondering why Romeo disappeared for the night, and all of a sudden the nurse shows up. So he's saying maybe Romeo hooked up with the nurse over the night, and Romeo's like, "What did you find out?" And Mercutio starts singing a song that's meant to make fun of the nurse, talk about her promiscuity, and it's not a really nice song. And then finally he says, "Hey, are you going to come to dinner with us afterwards at your father's place?" Romeo's like, "Yeah, you go. I'll follow you after." And then finally Benvolio and Mercutio leave, and they call her an old lady to end. So they called her fat, they called her ugly, they called her old. They indicated that maybe she was a little bit promiscuous, and on the naughty side. So these boys were not nice to her. And finally she says, "I pray you, sir, what saucy merchant was this that was so full of his ropery?" So like, who is that rude boy? Who is Mercutio? Why was he talking to me like that? Romeo says, "A gentleman nurse that loves to hear himself talk and will speak more in a minute than he will stand to in a month." So basically he likes to talk. He doesn't mean any harm. And the nurse, she's a little bit flustered. She's a little bit upset because they did make a few kind of rude comments, and she says, "And if he speak anything against me, I will take him down. So I'll fight him. I'll make sure he knows what's up. He gets a lesson." Calls him a scurvy knave, so basically a fool. And then she turns to Peter and she says, "Hey, why didn't you protect me? You just stood by and did nothing. Should I have to suffer every fool to use me at his pleasure?" And Peter's like, "I didn't see anybody using you at his pleasure. So he kind of makes a little bit of a joke there too. He's like, you know what? If someone was making fun of you, I would have my weapon out and I would fight them. And he's like, well, you know what? As long as I had a reason to fight. Because remember, these guys just can't start fighting for no reason. They can't be the first one to swing their sword, or else the prince's warning there of death will come true. So Peter's like, oh yeah, I would protect you. Of course, if I had a reason, if the law was on my side. So the nurse is getting no help from anywhere. She says, now, for God, I am so vexed that every part about me quivers. Scurvy knave. So she's really upset now. She's really angry. She finally turns to Romeo and says, pray you, sir, a word. And as I told you, my young lady bid me to inquire you out. She says, Juliet told me to come find you, come talk to you. I don't know what you were going to say, but I am going to keep what she said to me a secret. But first, let me tell you, if you should lead her into a fool's paradise, it would be a gross kind of behavior. So you better not mess with her, right? It's kind of like dad with a shotgun on the first date. Treat her right, or there's going to be consequences, right? She's a gentle woman. She's young. If you deal double with her, it would be an ill thing. So don't you dare mess with Juliet. Romeo says, nurse, commend me to thy lady and mistress. I protest unto thee. So he's like, you know what? You don't have to worry about me. Let me talk to Juliet. Let me send a message to you. And then nurse kind of cuts her off, and she's like, oh, okay. I can tell that you have a good heart. I believe you. She will be a happy woman. So she's convinced, just like that, that Romeo is going to be good to Juliet. And he says, you know what? What are you saying, nurse? Like, you're not listening to me, you're not paying attention. I have something to say. And the nurse says, I will tell her, sir, that you do protest, which, as I take it, is a gentleman-like offer. So the nurse is not super intelligent again, right? She thinks that the word protest means to propose. So she's getting her words mixed up here, and then Romeo is like, okay, wait, like, just chill out for a second, that's not what I mean. And then oh, well, it is what he means, but she's getting the words mixed up there. And Romeo says, you know what? Tell her that we're going to go to Friar Lawrence's this afternoon. We will be married, okay? So this afternoon, Romeo and Juliet, they're going to get married. Romeo gives some coins to her for her troubles. The nurse is like, oh, I can't take anything. And Romeo's like, come on, just take it. I insist. And of course, she takes it quite quickly, and she's like, this afternoon, sir, she shall be there. So she's going to show up. The marriage is going to happen. And then Romeo, he turns to the nurse, gives her a rope ladder, and says, within this hour my man shall be with thee, and bring thee cords made like a tackle stair. So somehow Romeo needs to get up to Juliet's room, right? So he's going to say, here's this rope ladder, take it up into Juliet's room, and then at nighttime, Juliet can let down this rope ladder, and I will be able to meet her. I will be able to convoy in the secret night. So I'll be able to get up there and see her for the wedding night. Be trusty, and I'll quit thy pains. Farewell, command me to the mistress. So he says, thank you for everything that you've done. And I'll get to Juliet to deliver the message. She says, thank you. And then Romeo's like, hey, what else do you have to say? Like, what's going on? And nurse says, is your man secret? So can your man keep a secret? This marriage can't be public knowledge at the moment, right? And Romeo says, trust me, my man's as true as steel. He's trustworthy. You don't have to worry about him. And then there says, well, sir, my mistress is the sweetest lady. Oh, she's like a little baby, and she kind of rattles off here that she's so sweet. And then she starts to babble, saying, you know what? Paris is also after Juliet, right? But Juliet, she doesn't have any interest in him. She thinks that he is a toad. I anger her sometimes and tell her that Paris is the proper man. So the nurse tried to say that Paris was a good match, but all she wanted was you, Romeo. So even despite the nurse trying to tell Juliet that Paris was maybe the better option, she has chosen Romeo. And then finally, Romeo says, you know what, get out of here, go deliver my message to Juliet. And so the marriage is a set now. They're going to get married in the afternoon, and the nurse is taking the message back to Juliet.